that we can enjoy this conversation online. I mean, it's not online at the moment, but it will be.
Will you edit it, or will it just be live?
No, it's not live, but it won't be really edited, because I'm just going to put it on my site and on my newsletter and on YouTube. So this is how it's going to be, actually.
Okay.
Right, can you hear me well?
Yes.
That's great. Until yesterday I was not sure that we are going to be able to talk, because all that mess with the microphone, I have no idea what happened, but it was a mess. Anyway, so let's start. I'll just edit it. I'll cut the beginning, of course, and then...
Okay, there's just one thing I want to say to you.
Yes.
Is that I don't know exactly the times and places of the event, or like the public lecture, for example, or the workshop for couples, or the pregnancy yoga class that I'm doing.
Okay.
I don't know where they're going to be, other than in Tel Aviv.
I have no idea. I have no idea about your schedule.
Well, I can find the schedule if you give me a moment, but I don't know the venues or the time particularly.
Pardon? I think
I don't know where they're going to be.
You mean in what places exactly?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry, but the one place I know for sure, and it's Neve Shalom. It's a very nice village near Jerusalem, and I'm quite sure you will enjoy it. It's a pleasant place.
Yes, I know about that one.
Okay.
But I'm just looking for the timetable. If you can bear with me a second,
Sure.
so we just know what we're going to do.
Okay, no problem. Sure.
I don't know why it won't open, but
Oh, don't worry.
okay, there we go.
Okay. By the way, I need to tell you, you know, I have participated your classes in, I don't know if you remember, I was pregnant, it was 19 years ago, and you came to, you came to Eilat in the south of Israel, and you gave with your husband a very nice seminar about water birth.
Yes, I remember that, yeah.
So that was somehow my start in the whole business, and later on I was a student of Ruti Folden.
Oh yes.
Yes, so you describe.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
She's coming along to
Great.
Neve Shalom, yeah.
She's
I'm
coming.
just trying to write down next to me here when all these things are. So the lecture is in Tel Aviv on the Wednesday, the 7th.
Yes.
Then, sorry about this.
No problem.
And then I'm doing a day for couples in Tel Aviv on the 12th. And then I'm doing a yoga class for pregnant women, also in Tel Aviv.
Do you know where in Tel Aviv?
Well, this is the thing, I don't know where.
Oh, okay.
It's I know when, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
on Tuesday, wait a second, Tuesday the 13th. And the 12th is all day, and the 12th is a Monday. And then I'm doing the 3-day thing in Neve Shalom, which is like a deeper workshop, more for professionals, but some pregnant people are coming as well.
Yeah, the serious women will.
Yeah, the serious, that's kind of more in depth, you know.
Yes.
So that's the program. I'm going to do a lecture in Tel Aviv in the evening of the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a theatre called Na Lagat.
Ah, Nalagat, yes, it's a center of deaf people and of blind people. No,
Yeah.
sorry, just blind people that serve, and it's an exhibition of things to touch, and it demonstrates the world of senses of the blind people, and they also serve there in the restaurant, and they're blind, and it's an interesting experience. They want you to know how they live and what they feel, and this is the place,
Yeah.
Nalagat.
Yeah, well, we're going to have the dinner there one night, but they have a theatre as well.
Yeah, that's
apparently.
true.
So that's where the lecture's going to be.
Oh, great! I'd love to.
Maybe you can mention that, because that might be of interest to people who, don't want to do a deep thing,
Okay, so Nalagat is on.
Nalagat is on Wednesday evening, the 7th, and that's going to be at 7:30.
Okay.
And then the couple's day is on all day on Monday the 12th, and I don't know where that's going to be. But is it possible to put up like a contact with Michal or something, so people can who are interested will know where to come?
Yes, I will contact Michal. I wanted to join one of the activities myself, and then to write about it on my website and newsletter, so it will be very nice. And of course I will give the full schedule. I understood that the 3-day seminar is fully booked already?
I'm not sure.
Ah, you're not sure? Okay.
Yeah, see, I haven't had anything to do with the bookings, but Michal did tell me that there are spaces for everything.
Oh, good,
So,
great.
Tuesday the 13th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon is a yoga class for pregnant women.
Okay.
So it'd be great to mention that in case people who are interested might like to come.
Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe I will ask you later on strictly about your schedule, and then you can say what it is and what you're doing if you like. So
Okay.
yeah, okay, we have many questions, and we can. Oops, I didn't. Just a second. Okay, that won't happen again.
Okay, good. It was a good time for it to happen.
Yeah, it was excellent.
So how's the visual? Do you see okay?
The visual is beautiful. Yeah, I see
Good.
just fine, and you look great.
Good.
And all is fine. So I assume we can start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
Great. So Mrs. Janet Velasquez, I'm so glad to have you online with us on a Skype interview. You're in London and I'm in Tel Aviv, and I'm happy that thanks to technology we can actually see each other and talk.
Let's have a little chat. Yes, I'm delighted to be with you too.
Thank you. Soon you're coming to Israel, and we are all so happy about that, because your book Active Birth has become the Bible for women in Israel who are interested not only in active birth, but also in physiological birth, in natural childbirth, and so on, both physiologically and both ideologically. So for an example, on my school, this is the main textbook. They have to read it. Michal.
Well, there's only one kind of birth, isn't there? Birth is birth.
Birth is birth.
And active birth is just a way of describing how a woman can be more participative in the whole role than used to be the model of the woman lying down and having her baby delivered medically, you know.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
actually I wanted to ask you about the name of your book, because the name of it, the title, is also a political statement which belongs to a certain era in the history of birth, when we had to lie on our backs and give birth like you know, cockroaches, and and that was very powerful at the time. That the active birth movement told us, okay, stand up, lady, stand up
Yeah.
on your own.
Take
And
charge of your body.
take charge of your body and of your birth and of your family, and do something. Become active.
Yes.
And now we're in a new, I think, in a new era, which is a little better for women. And I wanted to ask you if now, if for the next edition of your books, because you're translated not only to Hebrew, but for the convenience of all the world, they can read your lovely book. And if you would publish it again in the next years, I know it's a label, active birth, but if you had the freedom to choose a new title, which is a contemporary title for your book, what was your choice?
Well, I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. I still like active birth, because I think the meaning of active birth is our understanding is deeper now. You know, we know more about the physiology that underlies the birth process. You know, we know a lot more about how to facilitate the birth process, basically. So knowledge is deepened, but I still like the title active birth. Because, you know, it really does mean to me that the woman herself is responsible for what happens during her birthing, that she's in charge, that she's in a partnership with her midwives and doctors, but she herself knows everything, that she has everything she needs herself. You know, that she knows, every woman knows how to give birth. This is instinct. And we have it just like any other mammals have this instinct. And not only that, I think the baby knows how to be born as well, you know. And as we understand more about this sort of partnership that goes on between the mother, her baby, her uterus, her body, you know, her spirit, I'm still quite happy with the title active birth. I just think it has a broader meaning. You know, in the beginning, it was very focused on, you know, the sort of movement and positions that women make naturally and instinctively during labor and while giving birth, because, you know, that was a very crucial stage.
Absolutely.
When women kind of got onto their own 2 feet, you know, or their hands and knees, or whatever they wanted to do, and took charge of their birthing. And so that was a very crucial stage. And I would love to say that the whole world understands that now, and but that's not really the case, you know.
Absolutely.
Nowhere near, you know, even though, say, for example, in the UK, where we've had a very big influence, you know, now we have birthing centres that are designed for active birth. And, you know, every midwife who does births at home or in hospital will understand immediately what a woman means if she says, I want to have an active birth. But if you look at what's happening in hospitals throughout the UK, the majority of women are still lying on their backs like passive patients, you know. and so their births are more difficult, more painful, not as safe, and their reliance is still on quite heavily on medical technology. So we've got a long way to go, and I love the title Active Birth. I think it says everything. So to tell you the truth, I wouldn't change it.
Great, and thanks to this really powerful title, we can really see that the whole system around the world changed, because these two words had such wonderful power to change reality. And hospitals realized that women need to stand up, to sit, to be on all fours or whatever it was, but this is thanks to your words, and this is a very good example in your book, Active Birth, to how words can change reality and can drift a whole public of women to change reality and to demand the change in the system. So
yes, and the very simple thing of changing, a woman changing her posture, and moving freely, can transform her personal experience as well. So it's really the fundamental first step to everything else that we understand about natural childbirth. I think that's the important thing that needs to change everywhere in the world, and then the rest can follow. But let's face it, we're in times where the cesarean rates are going through the roof in some countries. I mean, at 50% in Brazil, 46% in Turkey, and they're pretty high in Israel as well. So it's, we're not ready to say, well, we know all about active birth now. What else are we going to do next? Fundamentally, the benefits of an active birth should apply to every birth. Even births using intervention can be made safer with some of the principles of active birth.
Can you see how can doulas implement your call to active birth these days? What doulas should take action like?
Well, the doula is a very important person at a birth, and a doula needs to have herself a very good understanding of both the narrow and the broad definition of active birth. And this is what I'm hoping, doulas will come to my 3-day seminar where we're going to explore this, and that's coming up when I'm in Israel. And, the doula can help the woman with preparation, can help to introduce the concept of active birth, can indicate to women, how they might put that into practice in labor. At the time, she can make suggestions. She can act as an advocate and support a woman who wants an active birth in the birthplace. Basically, her companionship is very key to the woman feeling safe enough and confident enough to put these principles into practice. So, and she can be with the woman also in early labor when it's too early to be with the midwife yet, and can really be amazing support to a woman who wants to have an active birth.
Great. Mrs. Velasquez, I believe a lot of doulas will attend your seminar, because the doula movement is now very strong and rising all over the world, and all are very interested in hearing the origin of your book and statement, and will attend. I wanted to ask you, what is the main focus of your work these days?
Well, you know, I still work in London with my pregnant women and their partners, so I will always do that because that's my biggest love. And I travel a lot as well to different countries, talking about active birth and teaching active birth. And I also am trying to do more writing, have more online presence, and yeah, you know, I'm busy every day with all of
I'm
this.
sure.
Yeah, it's my passion. You know, I love it, and I have a message. I feel it didn't really come from me. It was sort of my destiny to have this message, and I really want to keep on giving it because I think it has a transformative effect in individual women's experiences and in the collective way that we think and practice birth.
Talking about messages, do you have a special message for obstetricians and midwives these days?
Well, yes, you know, I would like to say to them, let's work together, you know, to support women in their own natural power for giving birth. You know, let's facilitate and not control. You know,
What should happen?
You know, like let's try and make this possible for more women in every way we can, and each one of us has a role to play. You know, a woman giving birth needs her midwife. Very often we do need a doctor and an obstetrician. But you know, I think, you know, if we follow the way of thinking that first the woman herself has everything she needs. We need to provide a safe space for her to give birth. Second, she may need help from a doula, from a midwife. And then third, you know, she may need the help of a doctor as well. So if we follow that order of things and we don't start to complicate something that, you know, woman's body is naturally designed for. So if we let that come first, and I think the majority of women will manage very well to give birth through their own instinctual knowledge, through their sort of more natural help of a doula or a midwife. And then if we leave the medical support for when it's really needed, then I think a woman has a very safe context to give birth that takes advantage of nature, instinct and science. You know, to give her the best possible experience and to give her baby a good arrival in this life.
And what do you think? I don't know if it's not a very provocative question, but I need to ask the question because it seems from YouTube and blogs and talks on the internet. What is your position about an unassisted birth? If you like to answer that.
Well, you know, in some places and some circumstances, a woman who wants to give birth naturally has no option other than to do it by herself. And for many unassisted births, this is the reason why they happen, because the woman really has no other way to have a normal, natural birth on her own terms. You know, so in that sort of circumstance, I'm, you know, sympathetic really. But I wouldn't advocate unassisted birth because, you know, I've been working with pregnant women now for 35 years. And, you know, stuff happens in birth. The best of intentions, sometimes it's not so easy, and sometimes things do happen where, you know, we do need the skills of midwives and doctors. So, you know, my first recommendation is that midwives and doctors transform their approach to facilitate natural birth. So, you know, every woman can have an unassisted birth to start with, But you can have an unassisted birth in the presence of a doula and a midwife. So, you know, my sympathy goes to those women who have no option. But I wouldn't recommend it as, you know, when there are perfectly good options of, you know, trained professionals who can be there in case. I think that's the best way to go.
And what is the situation in England for women who are pregnant and want to give birth in the natural way? What does England facilitate such women?
Yeah, I mean, we have a pretty good system here. It's far from perfect, but you know, women here have choice. First of all, you know, they are free to choose a home birth, a birth center if they have no complications, and there are also hospitals that give women a certain amount of freedom within even a consultant unit. You know, you can actually have a natural birth in a consultant unit if you're well prepared and you know how to make good choices, you know. So they do have very good options. They, you know, in the sense that, you know, if you do have a home birth here, you're provided with 2 midwives who are specially trained for this. And they're provided, and they're connected with a hospital, so you've got backup as well. So, you know, in many ways, it's a very enviable system.
Absolutely, we are envy.
Yeah, but in practice, it has a lot of problems, a lot of flaws, you know, because it comes down to individuals and, you know, what they know and what they feel in the present, in the moment. You know, people are all different, so you might get a fantastically sympathetic midwife, and you might also get one who is not like that. But, you know, we have a thing in England where I think consumers have quite a lot of power here. You know, for example, active birth was taken so seriously here, and it really came from a consumer movement. You know, it wasn't anything to do with professionals in the beginning. It was supported by a few professionals, but we were basically women who stood up and demanded active birth.
How did you do that?
And you know, we had a lot of support from the Royal College of Midwives, from hospitals, doctors, but changing consciousness is another matter. You know, to get people to really understand what it's all about is another matter. And also, you know, the majority of people in this country want to lie down and have a medical birth themselves. You know, the women need to be educated. You know, so I'm a great believer in education, so that women go into labour and birth prepared, informed.
How do you think we can adapt this wonderful principle? Because the situation in Israel is not very good. It's quite the same, but it's less, even less choice in Israel, because home birth is not really, we don't have insurance for home midwives. The connection between the hospitals and home birth midwives is awful, it's not good, and the country would not provide you with home birth doulas. So here it's not good, but what I'm asking you is to give us, as childbirth educators, the most fundamental advice how to start changing the public's opinion about birth, about the possibility of giving natural childbirth and stay safe, because people here are addicted to the medical model, and they don't get any education. I mean, there is only this 6 or 7 sessions course that childbirth educators provide, Many people are educated by the system and they think they are prepared, but they're not really. What is the main fundamental action that we as childbirth educators should take in order to change the way the public opinion, the way that the public understands birth? Because we don't have many resources.
Well, you know, this is a problem that's very common around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that it's important for pregnant women to learn,
Mm-hmm.
not with their minds, but with their body intelligence, because that's what makes a huge difference. And so I use a simple program that I actually developed from yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also starting globally to train teachers to teach a practical workshop to couples that explains the benefits of an active birth and the principles of it. And then they actually practice different positions, moving, breathing. So they learn very little that is head information, if you know what I mean. But they kind of learn to access what comes more naturally, what is instinctual. Mm-hmm. And this workshop has proven to be very, very powerful instrument for change.
Okay.
Personally to the couple, but then when they go along to their birthplace and put these principles into practice, the professionals see the difference. And that's how active birth has brought change within the UK. It's just, we've basically worked with couples, with pregnant women and couples, and this has had results that have impressed the midwives and doctors. And therefore, they've been more open to changing the circumstances so that women can put this into practice. And you know, this kind of revolution is one birth at a time. I don't think, you know, conferences are good, things that happen on the media, and it's all good, television, everything like that is good. But the biggest instrument for change is the actual power of women themselves. So if you can empower a woman and her partner in pregnancy to go and just give birth normally and naturally, that will create change. That's my belief. It happened for us in the UK, and I've seen it happening in other countries where the whole situation looked absolutely hopeless. So I think the message of active birth, a simple message, you know, don't necessarily lie down through your birth. You don't need help in the first instance. You may not need any help at all to get through this, you know. You need to understand that, you know, I say to pregnant women, you need to understand the birth process. Your body is made for it. You can do it, you know. And I think women need to prepare their body and also prepare the mind to let go of fear-driven addiction to thinking of birth as a medical event. You know, that's all about fear. Mm-hmm. Fear in the woman herself, fear on the part of the professionals, and this fear comes from ignorance. Once we understand the magnificent physiology of the birth process, in the simple terms, a pregnant woman becomes relaxed, confident, she trusts herself, she trusts her body, and that makes her ready to go through this experience. So I think we need to work with what are people afraid of on an emotional level, and also very simple understanding of what a natural birth sounds like, looks like, and feels like. Because every woman will know when she hears this that she has this inside her. And, you know, I have the confidence of 35 years of experience myself to tell you that it makes a huge difference to women to discover active birth. So I think, you know, one thing I can contribute to you in Israel is how to help women to discover active birth. And that's what my trip to Israel is all about. You know, I'm going to be demonstrating a pregnancy yoga class where I explain all of that, how the yoga prepares a woman exactly. And then I'm going to do a workshop for couples that I think could become a popular thing taught by other people in Israel. And then we're going to have an in-depth workshop to explore together what we all know and, you know, about the birth process, about physiology, how it all fits together, how it all works. Because, you know, once you know this, you realize that, you know, nature has a magnificent plan, a magnificent design for birthing, and is going to be successful, because nature's intention is that the birth process is successful. It's all about survival, you know. So if we just give a bit of space and trust to the woman and some good some simple and good education to her and her partner, you're on to a transformative tour. We can change birth. I know we can, because I've been doing it for years, you know, and it's one birth at a time. So doulas have a lot of potential, a lot of power to change things, and I'm really happy to hear that, you know, there's a big doula movement happening in
all over
Israel.
the world and in Israel. And, you know, as part of the World Doula Week team, I really wanted to ask you, this year, our title, our theme will be doulas are good for everybody. And I would like to ask you if you agree with that theme, and what do you think about this theme, the doulas are good for everybody?
Oh, I so agree. You know, I think a doula is a natural calling of women, of women in society, in communities. There have always been doulas, you know. Doulas support birthing families, mothers, fathers, older children, grandmothers, everybody, as you say, and they support midwives and doctors too, you know, by you know, freeing them to, you know, if a doula is with the woman as her companion all the time, it gives the midwife freedom to give really good attention where it's needed most, you know, because I don't know if you have a shortage of midwives in Israel, but we do here.
If we have, pardon, I didn't get
a shortage of midwives.
Absolutely, we have.
Yeah,
there is. For the most, we have for one midwife for two birthing.
Exactly.
rooms.
So if a doula is there as well, that gives the midwife a lot of support. You know, it frees her to focus on what her particular job is. You know, and it helps doctors too, because less people are going to end up needing cesareans, needing epidurals. You know, there's plenty of research that shows us how doulas help birth. You know, the cesarean rates go down when doulas are present. Complications go down. So, quite honestly, I do believe that doulas help everyone. You know, and there's something about a doula that helps society. You know, doula is a wise woman who knows about birthing, you know, and there are lots of us, you know. If you've had a baby yourself, you have a family yourself, if you've experienced birth, you know, you have a quality in you that is very supportive to the birthing mother and the midwife.
That's right.
You know, and also because doulas have not really got so much to do, so to speak, they can kind of be be there,
Yes.
you know. And actually, that's what the birthing mother needs most, is somebody who is confident, relaxed, to be there quietly. And I think a doula has this kind of quality to be present. You know, it's not about doing, it's about being.
Absolutely.
You know, and her being there, that's a natural part of an act of birth, you know.
Absolutely.
I don't think most women want to be lonely when they're in labour. And sometimes their partner can do a fantastic job being with them, but sometimes it's not appropriate for the partner to be there for religious reasons, for reasons because some men are very anxious about birth, you know. And so then it's fantastic to have a doula rather than an anxious partner.
Absolutely.
Or you know, it's tiring being at a birth, and so if the partner is playing an important role, the doula can support the partner by taking turns, you know. So, you know, honestly, I do think doulas do help everybody. And, you know, and after, another thing is the doula's there before the birth, during the birth, after the birth. There's a kind of continuity of support that most professionals involved with birth have not got the time to do that. So I think we need doulas big time.
Great. Totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mrs. Velasquez, what is your planned schedule for your coming visit, next week?
Okay. For this, I need to put my glasses on.
Okay.
So I can read it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, so on Wednesday, the 7th of November, I'm giving a lecture at a very special place in Tel Aviv that I'm looking forward to going to. It's called Nalagat.
Please touch in
Yeah.
English.
So that's at 7:30 on Wednesday the 7th, and anyone can come. It's open to the public. So I really would love to see some people there.
In Jaffa.
And then on Monday the 12th, I'm giving a day for couples about how you educate couples for active birth. So that should be very interesting for any pregnant couples or for any professionals who are interested in doing something like this. So that's on Monday the 12th, all day. On Tuesday the 13th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm giving a yoga class for pregnant women.
And where should that be?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. The former activity.
Find out from the people organising my trip.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that will be. So that will be Tuesday the 13th at 4 o'clock. And then the intensive 3-day courses in Neve Shalom, and the place that sounds wonderful.
Yes.
And that will be from the 15th to the 17th, 3 days.
Yes. And if I can add my warm recommendation, I've attended your seminar some 19 years ago, but I remember it as if it was yesterday, and it was a wonderful experience. I was pregnant at that time, and I think that this was my first activity towards a career in the community of birth. So, and it was a great experience, really inspiring and very knowledgeable, so I recommend everyone should attend this. And we're looking forward to seeing you here in Tel Aviv soon, and I really hope I can join your open classes as well as the seminar. I think people in Israel are waiting for you and love you and admire you for the book, which is really a main textbook for the birth community as well as the public. This is kind of the Bible, you know, the textbook of midwifery courses in Israel, really, and the good courses. And in my school for doulas, this is the main reading text, the main textbook. So we will be very, very happy to have you here with us.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it very, very much. I can't wait, and I look forward so much to working with you, and hopefully to beginning to grow something beyond the book in Israel. Because I think it's the moment, and there's a lot happening, there's a lot of awareness growing, and a lot of different strands of supporting women who really want to give birth naturally if they possibly can. So, and that should be most women.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
beside all the women and the public who really make the change, we have also social movements who are trying to change, to enhance the face of birth. So we will be all benefited and inspired by you. So thank you for being with us this
Thank you.
evening, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much,
You're
Mrs.
very welcome. I look forward to seeing you.
Me too. Thank you, Mrs. Velasquez. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Okay, I'll just turn off the camera.